Welcome back to my channel, folks, where today we look at another plant in the 50 Flowers in 50 Days series. Today the plant that we are looking at is a plant named Betony or Stachys officinalis, which has been rechristened to adopt the name Betonica officinalis. Betony is a member of the Lamiaceae family or the mint family, and consists of an upright inflorescence of bright purple to magenta flowers. Betony is a tall, softly hairy plant, typically with erect, upright stems, which are square and consistent with the family Lamiaceae. The plant has a persistent basal rosette, and the leaves are oblong to oval, coarsely toothed, and the uppermost unstalked. The flowers are usually bright reddish purple, 12 to 18 millimeters long, and the whorls form a dense oblong spike. Betony is known by a number of common vernacular names, none the least wood betony, purple betony, common hedge nettle, and bishopwort, probably due to the resemblance to the bishop's mitre, which is red. The actual name Betony is somewhat obscure, but it is derived from two sources. The first from Spanish herders living in an area of Spain known as Betonica, and called the Vetones, are perhaps the source of the term Betony. Likewise, it is thought to be derived from the Celtic word buton, which indicates that the herb was good for the head, from the Celtic form bow or bew for the head, and ton for good. The Latin binomial is straightforward, with the prefix stachys meaning spike, referring to the inflorescence or flower spike. The suffix officinalis is usually indicative of the plant recognised for its medical importance, and the Romans used it to treat headache. Betony is found in dry grassland, meadows and open woods, and it is a lowland wildflower showing preference for dry light soils, such as found on sunny banks and hedgerows. Greetings, folks, Wildlife Ranger here on YouTube on this exceptionally hot mid-June day. Temperatures must be approaching 30 degrees, so today we're working in and out of the unimproved meadow and the shaded woodland. And we've come across a plant, the plant of today, which is a plant known as Betony. And I'm going to give you a little overview on the hoof. Primarily, the habitat it is in, we have seen before. It is on a hill slope, on semi-improved grassland, adjacent to a small woodland stream directly below me. And what we're actually seeing on the plant is the fluorescence, which contains a number of zygomorphic flowers, as you can see here, which are purple in colour and lipped, and a secondary whorl about 3 to 4 inches down the stem. And again, the leaves of this plant occur in pairs, as you can see, and they are crenated or round toothed, which is a very distinctive leaf on Betony. And just below the inflorescence we can see two little leaflets here, as we'll see in the close-up photography. So the plant that we are looking at today is a plant called Betony, and this particular specimen is a rather straggly or long piece of Betony, which is why it caught my eye. And the reason for that is probably because it's growing directly out of shade. Normally it's a plant which is located more in grassland. So this little chap has made a sprout for the light. It's a pretty standard specimen of Betony, aside from the fact that it is rather tall and straggly, which is what caught my eye in the first instance. So there we have it, round crenated leaves, zygomorphic lip fluorescences, a secondary whorl further down the stem, and a stem which is square but not wholly hairy, but soft to the touch. Hi folks, Wildlife Ranger here on YouTube. We've come just very slightly later in the season to an area further into the woodland, which is semi-grazed by the occasional horse that comes up here, and you can see it's a much more grassy outlook, and I'm surrounded by a fairly typical colony of Betony, which is a plant in the family Lamiaceae, which is known as Stachys officinalis, and we've imaged that earlier on in this video. So I'm just trying to illustrate the variation in habitat. This particular grass spot is much more typical of where you will find Betony, and here we have the plant here, 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 and all around in a circle. So we've got a little colony of the plant Stachys officinalis. As always, before we embark on our journey into the field, we look at the features and characteristics which will enable us to find it, commencing with the flowers. As always, we include a detailed botanical slide which may be stopped at any point for those of you who may wish to study the plant in more detail. The plant Betony is a member of the family Lamiaceae, or mints. As we saw in the habitat video, Betonica officinalis is a rhizomatous, patch-forming grassland herbaceous perennial, growing from 15 to 60 centimetres tall. The flower structure of Betony contains an inflorescent spike of reddish-purple flowers, and also a whorl of secondary flowers beneath the spike at the leaf nodes. Each individual flower has 5 petals. The flowers also have 5 sepals, 5 to 9 millimeters from the base, and the teeth are sharply pointed. It has 1 ovary which is deeply 4-lobed. Each individual flower is 2-lipped, with the upper lip hooded and the lower 1-lobed. The plant has 4 stamens under the upper lobe and 2 stigmas on a long fork styles. It has 1 ovary, deeply 4-lobed. Betony can be seen flowering between the period June to October. It is not the intention of this basic video to consider the confusion species at length. However, this slide is included to show any potential confusion around the woundworts, and possibly the most simple distinction is that whether the leaves smell or not, the woundworts containing malodorous leaves. Let us now allow the plant to speak for itself. Most of the leaves of this plant are located as a basal rosette, but it does have 2 to 4 pairs of stem leaves, which are 3 to 10 centimeters in size and oval to oblong with a blunt tip. The stem leaves are stalked on upright stems, which are narrowly oval with a round base and a somewhat wrinkled texture and rounded toothed margins. The stem is upright, square and mostly unbranched with hairs. Well folks, this brings another episode of the 50 Flowers in 50 Days series to an end. And once again, thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video or found it interesting or educational, please like, share or subscribe and help this channel become successful and bring the next video in the series. Let us hope in springs to come you will recognise this familiar friend and its purple spike in grassland close to you. So folks, all that remains is to leave you with the words of Maggie, our international symbol of floral appreciation, which is, whatever the weather may be, get out there and enjoy it.